Hello and welcome to day 188 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. So I had a disappointing last game, so today let's see if we can do better. Let me find an opponent playing a 15-minute game with 10-second increment. All right, we have the white pieces. Lately I've been playing this Jabava London, so let's continue with that and see how it goes. I may switch that up in the future because I think a lot of people are getting used to seeing the Jabava London. So there's not as much of a surprise factor as there used to be. Although, I don't know, my opponent is taking some time to think here for the moment, so maybe it is a surprise. What are they rated? 1792, so this could be a tough game. All right. Well, they're taking a while to move here. So, is that either good or bad? Maybe it's good because they are not sure how to respond against the Jabava London, which involves knight, pawn to d4, knight to c3, and then this, this bishop will move out to f4 so that you're targeting this pawn. And then maybe you could have a chance to jump the knight up here and put pressure on that pawn, threatening a fork. But at the moment, we're just waiting. Okay. Bishop. They play their bishop out, maybe getting it outside the pawn chain. So what do we want to do here? I think we immediately want to attack. So we'll push this pawn, threaten to start chasing this. Now, we have to be careful because there's that move that could cause some issues. So, do we bring our bishop out first? Maybe. But then they could attack us. So if we go here, maybe that's the best way to go. The problem is they could deliver a check. So I'm going to go there and get rid of that possibility. And then we can start attacking their bishop. Okay, I guess they put a stop to that. So let's attack that bishop again. All right, now, do we bring the knight up or do we attack their bishop with our bishop? I'm thinking we just attack with our bishop. Because now we're threatened to take. Well, if we take, we get this pawn, but they'll grab this pawn in the center. I don't know about this. Let's see. If we take this bishop, he pulls his pawn to the center, then he's got an attack going here. And he'll probably get his bishop here. He could line up on that. I might have to go here. Okay, so he just goes ahead and takes. So I'm guessing we should develop our other knight and take like that. Now he's attacking us. So we probably have to move our pawn to protect that. Something like that. But now what? If he develops his knight here, do we just attack it? Where's that knight going? He could put a knight here, which I don't know if I like that. Okay. Well, now we might as well develop our bishop. But if his knight jumps forward here, could have a threat of moving in. All right. Well, do we just develop our piece? And probably need to go there. See, now he could just jump that knight forward and it'll be on a nice outpost there. If he jumps his knight forward, then we probably have to take. And then what? He takes. It helps him develop his queen. Then we probably need to develop our queen. Get our king castled, I'm guessing, to the queen side, because this king side sure is open. All right, so he just adds pressure there. We probably, should go ahead, bring our queen up, then get ready to castle long. Now also, do we push forward here attacking? You know, if I push this pawn, he could take. I take and chase his knight. I don't know if I like that. I need to get my pieces developed and get my king castled. All right, we'll just go ahead and do that. Then get ready to castle long. All right. Now, we could maybe take his knight. Then if he takes, if he takes with a pawn, I don't know if I like that. He'll open the G file to this backwards pawn. I don't know. Okay. So he's just going to pile the pressure up there. And I don't know if I like this knight having the possibility of jumping down here. Well, I should probably put this rook on the open file. Or do I just take? Man. Decisions, decisions. If I take, he's just going to have another attacker. It's going to just be piling up there. Do I go ahead and push forward there? So if I do that, push forward, or do I attack with my pawn? But then he could threaten. I don't know. That is kind of forcing. If I go there, the issue is if I push forward and attack, what if he comes forward here with that threat of going there? Maybe I go ahead and take. If he takes, he's lining up there. I can attack, driving him back. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Get rid of that knight before it has a chance to jump in there. Okay, now I can attack, but which way? Do I go that way? Attacking the knight. If he takes, I take with the pawn or the knight. All right, I better slow down a little bit before I do something hasty. All right. If I attack his bishop, that's a possibility. His king's in the middle, so I should try and open things up. So if I push there, maybe that's a good way to go. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Attack his knight. All right, now what? He could jump forward with his knight now. But I probably need to open things up. So we'll go ahead and do that. I am left with this isolated pawn, but he will be left with one too, unless he decides to take with his queen. Which he does. So, do we attack with our knight? This could be weak. If I... Oh, well, I probably should jump my knight forward. Jump the knight forward, threatening a fork, and attacking his bishop at the same time. So let's do that. So we're attacking his bishop, and we're threatening that fork. if he castles, oh, which he did, now what? We just move and threaten a mate. Perhaps that's the best way to go. We just threaten a mate. So we go that way. But his knight can move here. And then he attacks my queen and stops that mate threat. Oh, but no, I can take him with my knight. So I'm going to go that way. Ooh, he could move his knight with a check, but I mean, I guess my queen could take. Man. What now? All right, well, we're threatening a mate here. So how does he stop that? If he just pushes forward with his pawn, well, then we take there. So maybe, I mean, does he have anything tricky like going here, attacking my queen? I mean, I guess I could take his knight, and then we'll have this pin here. So his knight comes forward. I take the knight, but then his rook will pin my knight to my queen, and he could try and attack it with a pawn. But if he does that, then I can get rid of my pawn, my weak isolated pawn, I guess. All right, well, at least my opponent is thinking about this one. Man, this is a tricky one. I guess, once you get up to the high 1700s up to 1800 and higher, you have to step up your tactics to a higher level. And I don't know if I'm quite there yet because I'm kind of a slow calculator. That's probably my weak spot is calculation and speed of calculation. That's why I have trouble sometimes when the clock is ticking down. All right, well, what are they going to do here? So he's got to deal with this checkmate threat here. I mean, what if he gives up his rook by going there? I would just take and attack his queen, I guess. So I don't know what my opponent, what else they can do. At least they're wasting a lot of time. Not wasting, I mean, hopefully they're calculating and trying to figure it out. Okay, so they do that to stop. Now I can just take the bishop. Or is there something better if I deliver a check here. Does that do anything? Check to the king. The king has to move. Then what? I don't know. We probably need to take the bishop. Get rid of that powerful bishop. I mean, then I could start trading some material down. Or do I attack his queen with my knight first? You know, that's a possibility as well. But I don't want to have to deal with that knight check. Huh. All right. Wow. Okay. It just got tricky again. So now, if I take this and he goes here. Oh, okay. I can still do that. So I'm just going to take that. All right. Well, at least they have doubled pawns now, which are kind of bad. So I probably should trade the rooks off next. Then I can go after his queen. All right. How can we attack his king, though? Is there a way to get in towards his king? If I attack his queen here, then I could threaten to jump in here. So, you know, or do I go here, threatening that, and then that, but he can just jump here. That doesn't look too good for me. So, what now? Oh, and this is under attack right here. So I probably need to knock that out. Huh. Or do I move? I don't know. It's still a tough position. Wow. Okay. Well, what if I let him take this? And then I go here, and my queen would be protecting that. So he can't check me. Oh, he could check me over there, though. I mean, I guess I could block, but then I'm just going to be down a pawn over here. So do I have to... do I move my king over to the edge? All right, we're just going to go there because I'm wasting way too much time. Oh, wow, maybe it was a better move to push there. Okay, so now there's that threat. Well, what now? If we protect this, maybe I go ahead and do that right like that. You know, prevent the fork. So we do have this opportunity to trade the queen off and try and repair my, or get rid of my isolated pawn. Oh man, I'm just down on time though. Man, he could just bring in, yeah, his other rook and put pressure on this. So now I just go ahead and take. Oh, but I don't know about that move because now my rook can develop with a tempo there. With check. Now I can bring my knight up. Just bring my knight up here to c3 because that'll help protect. We'll just do that. And then now what? If we can go here and trade queens off, you know, that might be a possibility. But the problem is his knight can attack. His knight's a little bit better than mine. Okay. Huh. All right. Well, now we can deliver a check, I guess. Now, what will his knight try to do? I guess I should probably deliver a check. Then go after this pawn, maybe. All right, kind of wasting time here. Okay, so he blocks that way. Now we might as well take that pawn. Now we're attacking the other pawn, you know, and we have a chance for a check, I guess. Well, we're threatening his knight. He's going to have to move his knight. So if he moves that knight here, attacking my rook, what do I do then? Okay, so that is what he decides to do. Do we counterattack? No, I mean his queen is protecting his rook. So we can't do that. We have to move our rook. Do we deliver a check? Oh, yes. We deliver a check. And then we might have a mate on the next move, I believe. Right there. I mean, he's going to have to block with his rook, but either way, we're going to have a mate. So, yeah, there we go. All right. Whew, that game was kind of tense. They want a rematch. Okay. I'm going to do a game review real quick. So we'll blast through the game review real quick, and then I'll do some... I'll do computer analysis after that. All right, sorry, I was looking at this graph here. So it says, nice eye, you found a tactic to grow your lead into a win, which, I guess I was ahead there towards the end. I just didn't realize I was that far ahead. I thought the game was kind of even until that mistake they made right at the end. So it looks like I played at a 90.8% accuracy rating. My opponent played at 72.9. And let's see, we both had one great move. Looks like I picked 12 of the best moves versus their 6. Inaccuracies, I had 4, they had 6. Man, I had 3 mistakes, they had 2, but they had a miss and a blunder. And it says I played at a 2300 rating. If you can't see underneath my image, here, let me move that. So, yeah, it looks like I played at 2300 and they played at what, 1550. So let's see what else there is to learn here. The opening. I played 93.1% accuracy. They played 89.5. And then in the middle game, 89.8% accuracy for me and only 65.6 for the opponent. Okay, so quick review where it blasts through the moves, see if there's anything important. I'm going to have to look at this opening. I don't know if because you don't see that as often where they bring that bishop out that early. And I think when they bring the bishop out, it is good to play this pawn to f3 and try and chase the bishop. But once they played this e6 move, so it is saying that I should have attacked right away. But I was worried. Well, we'll look at that in the analysis. So I'll definitely take a look at that. Moving on. Okay, so they didn't like that move either. Apparently, I should have ignored the possibility of them taking that pawn and just centralized my queen. I don't know. This is tricky. I'm going to have to take a look at this line in the computer analysis for sure. Okay, so they did pick the best move there. And then apparently I should have moved my queen over. Oh, wow. So that was a mistake. And they had this option as well. But I guess if they played that, I could block. I could move this pawn and cover that square. But man, that looks dangerous. So a lot to look at here in the computer analysis. Okay, so that was a mistake by them. Apparently they should have pushed this pawn. So they like that move. That is a big old blunder there. Allows me to take, which is best. And then I guess they overlooked the check, so you always have to look out for checks first as they're the most forcing. So that is a mistake, which allows check and then mate in 2. I mean, they could have blocked, but then I would just capture and then mate on the next move. All right. Well, let's definitely look at the computer analysis on that one. So from the beginning, in the Jabava London, D4, D5, common way to start. We both take an equal share in the center. And now knight to C3 is starting off with the Jabava London here. And then I'll bring this pawn up, or excuse me, that bishop up. So after this move, F3 apparently seems to be the best move, or one of the best moves. I mean, I guess I could have played bishop to F4 immediately. So that is an inaccuracy. Apparently bishop to G6 immediately would be better. And so here, E4 is the best move. This is a mistake. So if I play E4, I was kind of worried that they could take. Then if I take, oh, I guess if they checked, I could block. Their bishop would have to retreat, and then I could just defend it. So I have to remember that I can play E4 and not have to worry about checks over here, because I could just block that check. All right. Well, I guess I should take a quick look at that. If I play E4, their best move is just bishop to G6, and then it looks like I should play H4 or take in the center immediately. So if I take in the center, let's see what happens if I play H4. Does it say that's the best move? Yes. I'm threatening H5 to trap the bishop, so they recommend playing H5, stopping that, keeping the king side even as far as space. So something like H5, and then I should, or now they're saying H6 was best. And then at this point, bishop to G5. All right, back to what happened. I played H4, the first mistake of the game. And now the game has shifted to a half a point equivalent pawn advantage for black. So what do we do next? Or what do they do? They grab space over here. And leave an escape hatch for their bishop. Kind of prevents me from going here. So it looks like E4 should be played. That's the best move. Now, what should they have played? Instead of that H5 move, looks like, what did they say the best move was? Bishop to D6. So, yeah, if they develop, now I can't develop my bishop. So they're saying I have to go to E3. Or I attack. I just continue the attack like this. Oh, wow, hold on. It looks like it's trapped, but there's this move. King has to go to D2. Wow. Yeah, that's a crazy possibility. So wanted to, should have tried to definitely avoid all of that. Okay, this is what happened in the game. So here I finally pushed to E4, capture, recapture. Best move is played, attacking my queen. Here, bishop to E2 is best. And then what, capturing is best? No, they're saying knight to C6. Applying pressure to my D4 pawn. So after capture here, knight captures is the best move. Knight at G takes E2. And now what? Bishop to E7 or knight to H6 even. So bishop to E7 is played, adding pressure to this pawn. And apparently here I should have played what? I mean, I make this move to protect that pawn so they can't take it, but that was a mistake. So queen to d3 is the best move. Huh. And then they should go ahead and what? Capture here. And then what? G3 chases the bishop. Back up to E7. Then we play bishop to F4. Queen to D7. And it's saying white is ahead here, even though I'm behind by a pawn. So what now? They're even saying knight to F6, but then they could chase me. So now they're saying that queen moves best. So here I should go ahead and castle. And then what? Knight to F6. And then we have queen to F3. Targeting this. Threatening to go after that. Wow, I don't know. That kind of play, that's some computer play. It's hard to see maybe all that counterplay that could have occurred. So in the game, we get to this point where they attack my H-pawn. I just protect it. Now the knight jumps in, and they're going to have a nice outpost there. So knight to F4 apparently would have been better. Now what? Bishop takes F6. Should have been played immediately. This was an inaccuracy. After a few more moves, finally I play that move, which is still best. So here, what is best in this position? It looks like queen to E3 lining up on their king. But instead, I decide to try and open things up, and that's an inaccuracy. So let's look at queen to E3, and then they should just castle queenside and add even more pressure here. So after castle, they're attacking this pawn. I have 3 defenders. They have 4 attackers. So they're saying that I should just move my king over to B1 and let that pawn fall, I guess. So if I go there, are they saying that's the best move? Yes. Oh, they can't. I guess they can't take here. Because if they take, I take, their bishop takes. Oh, no. I don't know. That's kind of tricky. I'm going to take a look at that. But they're saying queen to E8 is the best move. What if they take like that? Well, now it's saying E5 should be played. And that this was a blunder move. Because the knight is pinned to their queen. Okay. So if we go back, what if they would have taken like that? So that's a mistake. White goes ahead by almost 2 pawns as far as not material, but what the computer evaluates it at. So what do we do here? Knight takes, and now we just drop back, and that's pinned. So what do they do next? C5. Or what about E5? E5 or C5. So if we play that, then what? C3. No matter what, we have that. And that knight's going to fall. Okay. In the game, we were at this position. The knight jumps forward, the best move. So here, knight to F4 is best. But instead, we play that. And apparently they should have exchanged queens, gone into an endgame, and they're ahead by, what does the computer evaluation say? They'd be ahead by a little bit, a slight advantage for black. So, what now? And what does it say I should have played? Knight to f4 would have been the best move here. Knight to f4. Then they recommend queen to e7. And white would have just had a slight edge. So in the game, we capture. They play an inaccuracy. They should have taken my queen. I found the best move, jumping up here, threatening this fork of the king and the queen. So what now? They find the best move, castling. And here, I played what? This, which was a good move, but now the game's just about even. So apparently, queen to f4 would have been a little bit better. We go there. That prevents the knight from moving in. We're threatening their bishop. But the bishop, well, if it drops back, we still could take that bishop. They recommend ignoring all that and playing rook at d to g8 over here, getting ready to line up on that backwards pawn. Okay. In the game, we had the threat of mate in 1 there, so they attack with c6. Knight to c6 would have been better. So the game would have been even if they would have played here. But then we could go ahead and capture their bishop, which is what they recommend. Okay, so in the game, we have an attack on our knight. I capture, but that's a mistake. Now the game is about dead even almost. Knight to f4 would have been better. So apparently I should have dropped back here, attacking the queen. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not what they wanted. What did they say? So after that is played, knight at e to f4. Okay, I should have brought the other knight up, attacking the queen. And then where does this queen go? g4. So that's the best move. Queen to g4. Then what do? We take the bishop. They should maybe exchange rooks. So there we take, they take the knight. And then what now? Knight up to d5? No. Wow, they say I can play knight to d5. How does that even work? Oh, because of the pin of that pawn. Wow. But they also recommend b3 or a4. So let's see if they like this move best. Oh, and my queen is protecting that pawn. So that is the best move. Queen takes e4. Although now they're saying queen to e6 would have been better. Because now I can take here and attack their queen. Oh, wow. But if I do that, then what? Queen attacks me. And then where does my knight go? Huh. Oh, wow. There's knight to d7 here. And if they take here, I can take over there. So knight to d7, like that. Is that the best move? Yes. And they recommend f6, like this. Protecting, and then what? Queen up to c5. So I go there, threatening to start harassing. Well, put more pressure on the knight. So, man, yeah, a lot happening in this. Now they're saying knight to b6 check would have been better. Start harassing the king. All right, in the game, where were we at here? So I take the bishop, which was a mistake. Now the game's about even. They capture. I move my king over to b1, and now black has a slight edge. b3 would have been better, keeping my king in the center and, preventing that queen from being able to attack there. So knight to g4, an inaccuracy. Bringing the queen down there apparently would have been better. And that would attack my unprotected, isolated pawn. So now what? They double up. Looks like knight to f4 is best. Or no, now the game's about even. I have multiple moves. So I capture here. Their queen captures. And now that does allow me to get a slight edge, bringing my rook into the game with a check. And then here, king to c7 would have been better because now, well, we saw what happened later in the game. Knight to f4 is best here. Or knight to c3 is okay. So I decided to just defend. Now they're saying that's best. I just defend my isolated pawn. So that is a big mistake. A big mistake move there. F5 would have been better. So if they play that, well then, what should I do? I should go ahead and take like that. Is that the best move? No, now they're saying rook to e1 would have been better. What? Rook to e1. We go there. And then they probably would have captured. If I played rook to e1, they're showing queen to f6. All right, let's wrap this up. Queen to c4 was played. I deliver a check, which is, I guess that was the best move there was. Queen to f5, yes. So check. Now the king moves. Where is best? Or apparently blocking with the queen was the best move. Instead, we have this blunder here. Wow, that's a big blunder. So the best thing, now they're saying king to b8 would have been better. So if the king goes over there, well, that allows me to take, attacking the knight. Knight to f2 attacks my rook. But now, rook to c1 would be the best move here. And after capture, rook captures, I would be able to check and then pick off a pawn perhaps. Yeah, here. Grab this pawn. And I have this dangerous queenside passed pawn. All right, in the game, we have that blunder, allows me to capture here. So that is a mistake. They had to play rook to e8 is the best move to prevent the check. So if they went there, then what do I do? Oh, then I just get the knight. I would just grab a knight then. So what is the other option? Okay, so I go there, they attack, and then that allows the checkmate. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned a little bit with the analysis. Let me know in the comments what you want to see what you like, what you don't like. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. You can let me know your opinion either way. So if you have any requests for what you want to see in the future, leave a comment with that. Like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.